it's Fielder's heyday.
Species from the natural world and likewise each other. It supports blind submission to authority. It reduces human responsibility to the effect that God controls everything, and in turn awful crimes can be justified in the name of a divine pursuit. And most importantly, it empowers those who know the truth, but use the myth to manipulate and control societies. The religious myth is the most powerful device ever created and serves as the psychological soil upon which other myths can flourish.
Oh!
Dang.
That hurt inside.
A myth is an idea that, while widely believed...
Oh, we back to the gray lines.
In a deeper sense, in the religious sense,
David Ray
a
Griffer.
myth serves as an orienting and mobilizing story for a people. The focus is not on the story's relation to reality, but on its function. A story cannot function unless it is believed to be true in the community or the nation. It is not a matter of debate. If some people have the bad taste to raise the question of the truth of the sacred story,
no,
the keepers of the faith do not enter into debate with them. They ignore them or denounce them as blasphemers.
It is wrong, blasphemous, and sinful for you to suggest, imply, or help other people come to the conclusion that the U.S. government killed 3,000 of its own citizens.
Gasp, how dare he? The white boy's pissed now.
Part 2. Have you noticed that the world's in a cage on that picture?
Exactly. What's this shit? What just happened?
Oh!
Boom! Oh!
That's actual footage right there. Someone was right under it, like right there. Wouldn't that be scary?
That's like I was watching a frag video and this guy got an off headshot and he has to replay it 23,000 times.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look how awesome I am!
The crown achievement.
Purposely dynamited and blown up.
Look, stop.
If you're going to do this, you have to get at the under-infrastructure of a building and bring it down.
The way the structure is collapsing, this was the result of something that was planned. It's not accidental that the first tower just happened to collapse and then the second tower just happened to collapse in exactly the same way. How they accomplished this, we don't know.
The building collapsed to dust. You don't find a desk. You don't find a chair. You don't find a telephone, a computer. The biggest piece of a telephone I found was half of the keypad, and it was about this big.
What happened to the concrete? The concrete was pulverized from river to river. There was dust powder 2-3 inches thick. The concrete was just
serious business.
In addition to those pictures, we've all seen too much.
That actually kind of sounds plausible that the U.S. government planned it.
Oh, you'll be convinced by the end of the
second explosion.
There was a heavy-duty explosion.
What, sorry?
You'll be convinced by the end of the explosion that everybody will okay.
To me, it sounded like an explosion. It sounded like gunfire. Bang, 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 bang. And then all of a sudden, 3 big explosions.
We heard a big explosion coming down. And then the entire top of the building just blew up.
We saw some kind of explosion.
By the force of the explosion.
Big explosion. Blew us back into the 8th floor.
Then we get to the lobby, which is a big explosion.
The lobby of a bomb had exploded there.
A huge explosion now raining debris.
It's been a huge explosion.
Huge explosion that we all heard.
Huge explosion.
There's some kind of follow-up explosion.
We heard a very loud blast explosion.
A secondary explosion at Tower 1 camp.
That is another bomb going off. He thinks that there were actually devices that were planted in the building. Planted in the building.
The 9/11 myth. I don't think it's going to record this. 19 hijackers directed by Osama bin Laden took over 4 commercial jets with box cutters, and while evading the air defenses system, NORAD hit 75% of their targets. In turn, World Trade Centers 1, 2, and 7 collapsed due to structural failure through a fire in which pancake fashion, while the plane that hit the Pentagon vaporized upon impact, as did the plane that crashed into Shanksville. The 9/11 Commission found that there were no warnings for this act of terrorism, while multiple government failures prevented adequate defense. It's Bush's fault. No warnings. It's like real.
I don't think anybody could have predicted that they would try to use an airplane as a missile, a hijacked airplane as a missile.
Nobody in our government, at least, and I don't think the prior government envisioned flying airplanes in the buildings.
No specific threat involving really domestic operation involving what happened, obviously. The city
4422.
There were no warning signs that I'm aware of.
USA Today reports that in the 2 years before the attacks on September the 11th, NORAD conducted exercises using hijacked airliners as weapons. And one target was the World Trade Center.
Operation Mascot.
In confidential documents from the Philippines obtained by CNN, the plan was clear. He will board any American commercial aircraft, control its cockpit, and dive it at the CIA headquarters. Other buildings targeted the Pentagon and the World Trade Center.
Security in counterterrorism was blinking red, in the words of George Tenet, that the warnings of an imminent attack were so severe that something dramatic should have been done.
The French warned them. Of course they ignored it.
Instead, our president went on a month-long vacation.
The head of Pakistani intelligence at the ISI, Mahmoud Ahmed, requested Omar Sheikh to wire $100,000 to Mohammed Atta, who was the lead hijacker.
Hijacker Mohammed Atta received wire transfers via Pakistan. The man sending the money to Atta is believed to be Ahmed Umar Saeed Sheikh.
Omar Sheikh admitted he was supported by the Pakistan government's intelligence service, the ISI.
No inquiry was ever made as to why General Ahmad ordered $100,000 on the morning of September 11th. Government officials were having breakfast. The 9/11 Commission deemed the financing of the attacks was of little practical
Although we are
significance.
told that 4 or 5 of the alleged hijackers were on each of the flights, if so, the names should have been on the flight manifest. But the flight manifests that have been released contain neither the names of the alleged hijackers nor any Arab names whatsoever.
We know that the men who were supposedly the hijackers had their houses, cars, credit cards paid for by the U.S. government.
I hope they make another one of these for Haiti.
Evidence was
That'll be
also
funny.
apparently planted.
The
passport of one of the hijackers on Flight 11 was allegedly found in the rubble.
Goes through the fireball, through the side of the plane, and comes down to the ground unscathed. But something happened. For 6 months they reported they had this passport. Boy, we've got it. We've got the proof. And then the guy stood up and was alive.
Several of these 19 men are still alive.
Dang.
At least 6 of the hijackers are alive. The FBI to this day has not revised their list. No evidence has ever been linked to the alive or dead hijackers to Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden.
Of course we're after Saddam Hussein. Bin Laden. He's
January 2001, the Bush administration orders the FBI and intelligence agencies to back off investigations involving the bin Laden family, including 2 of Osama bin Laden's relatives, who were living, guess where, in Falls Church, Virginia, right next to CIA headquarters.
When he was already America's most wanted criminal, he reportedly spent 2 weeks in the American hospital in Dubai, was treated by an American doctor, and visited by the local CIA agent.
We have not seen one piece of evidence that links Osama bin Laden directly to the planning stages of September 11th.
This failure to provide proof was later said to be unnecessary because bin Laden, in a video allegedly found in Afghanistan, admitted responsibility for the